Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Melissa Rich, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Taking Care of Your Temple podcast. And I do have an announcement to make that I will talk about more at the end of this episode. And that is that after this episode, I'm going to be taking a 3 or 4 month break. I'll explain why at the end, but this is the last one for a while, but I will be back. Okay, so let me do what I usually do, give you a little introduction to what this podcast is and what we're doing. The objective of this podcast is to help women connect with God on a regular basis and to use His grace, power, strength, might, wisdom, knowledge, love, all the things to improve their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health and well-being. There are 4 principles that I recommend using in order for this to happen. And obviously, there are other ways that you could do it as well. This is just what I find to be helpful. The first one is to keep your focus on God. So obvious, so like, well, yeah, of course, and so hard to do because there are just so many distractions all over the place. So it's a process that you have to kind of keep pulling your attention back to Him. The second thing, acknowledging that you are not enough on your own. You're not smart enough, strong enough, I don't know, funny enough, whatever enough to get through things on your own. You need help. Fortunately, once we ask God for help, He is always happy to provide it. Yay. Because I ask Him for help all the time. So that is a good thing. Third principle to remember, it is about progress, not perfection. God does not expect us to be perfect. Thank you, Lord. We should not expect that either of ourselves or of others. As long as we are learning and keep moving forward, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're growing. That's what He wants. And the fourth principle is to work on consciously changing our thoughts. Our thoughts, y'all, are just tremendously important. And they really determine how we think, act, feel, connect to other people, everything. So if you are giving yourself a lot of negative, toxic messages, you really need to reassess that and start working on changing those messages because it will make a tremendous difference in your life. I promise you. That's something that I do with all of my clients here at Waco Hypnosis Centers. I help them basically change their thoughts and reprogram their brain because our brains are set up and we follow habits. And our brain kind of does the things that it's been doing for years, and our brain tries to protect us. So if we are in a situation that is anxiety producing or scary, our brain starts to just bombard us with these messages to make us get out of that situation to protect us because it doesn't want us to be there. But a lot of times we need to be in those situations in order to grow. So anyway, the verse for this podcast, sorry, I put the sheet down, is 1 Corinthians 3:16. And I think it's very appropriate for what we're trying to do here. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? So let me go ahead and say a quick prayer, and then we will get going on this. Lord, I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to do this podcast episode. I thank you that I'm going to be taking a break here to get some things done, and that I will be back later. And I just ask that you will bless the work that I have done and that really will help people to really improve their lives and to live better for you. Thank you for your love, Lord. Amen. So what I want to talk to y'all about today, this is kind of a wrap up for a few months, just kind of the best things that you can do to stay healthy, to stay on track, to keep moving forward. And so I've got several things that I'm going to talk about. Some of them I have talked about before. The first one is regular exercise, which I talk about a lot. Y'all, exercise is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck for everything. It will help you feel less anxious or depressed. It will help you sleep better. It will help you with your weight. It will help you just be physically healthier. Exercise is the bomb. And if you are not exercising regularly, I really strongly encourage you to start doing that. And you can start out small. You don't have to go run a marathon the first day. Please don't do that. In fact, start out small and then work your way up to it. You need to be, I was in a, what was it? Leadership training thing where the lady, Christine Kane, would always say, you want to stretch yourself a bit, but not enough that you go splat. And that's exactly right. You don't want to just keep doing exercise that you're comfortable with because your body adapts and gets used to it. So you want to keep stretching yourself, but not so much that you just fall apart. So regular exercise, physical activity such as cardio, strength training, yoga, Pilates, and then walking, running, bicycling, swimming. Swimming is a good one. It's a whole body exercise. If you have access to a pool, that's amazing. And that is going to just give you all kinds of health benefits. Another one is healthy eating habits. And this is good, y'all. Obviously, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to eat healthy and, not overeat. But even if you already are at a good weight and just want to maintain it, it is still a good idea. Because I know a lot of people who are not overweight, but they are still unhealthy because they make very poor eating choices. They eat a lot of junk food. They are just some of those really fortunate people who none of us like, that they can eat whatever they want and don't gain weight. Yes, we all hate them, but there it is. But again, they are not necessarily healthy if they are not making healthy eating choices. So you want a balanced diet that's rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and this is going to support overall health and help you have the kind of energy that you want and need to have. The next thing that you can do to really optimize your life is to prioritize your mental health. Practice stress management techniques, hugely important, such as meditation, deep breathing, journaling, prayer, looking for therapy if you need it, maybe using praise and worship music, but just do things to keep you on track mentally and emotionally. There is so much anxiety and stress floating around, y'all. It's just rampant. And we all, and I want to make a distinction here, we are all going to feel anxious at times. We live in an anxiety-provoking world. However, that is different than having an anxiety disorder where you kind of dwell in that. And if you're not sure if you have an anxiety disorder, just do an online search for different types of anxiety disorder. It will pop up. You can look through it and see if you fit in that category. I have anxiety on a regular basis. It's not an anxiety disorder. It's just that I get into situations where I'm worried about, one of my children or my grandchildren, or, something has come up and I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it, or my dogs are doing something, whatever. Most of the time, though, my anxiety is short-lived. I'm able to work through it. I turn it over to God, which is a big thing. And I'm not saying that is easy. I turn it over to him, and then I have to keep reminding myself, nope, God has this. I don't need to worry about it. He's going to tell me what to do. And he does. Regular health checkups. Y'all, this is really important. You want to have regular checkups with healthcare providers for screenings, vaccines, preventative care, because if you have some type of a health issue, the very best thing is to catch it early on and deal with it. I used to never get the flu shot until I taught at a university. And the reason for that is when I was in college, they came out with the flu shot. And unfortunately, several people died from it the first year or two because, it was new. They didn't know what they were doing as much. And so that just kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth. I was like, I'm not getting a flu shot. No way, Jose. However, I started getting them when I was teaching at Mid-America Christian University in Oklahoma City. And flu season that year was rampant. Everybody was getting the flu. And it was so bad, students were walking, and faculty and staff walking through the hallways with the mask on. This was pre-COVID, y'all. But that's what it looked like. It looked like COVID. Everybody had their mask on because you didn't want to get germs, because this flu was awful. People were out for like a week or two. And I was like, I can't be sick for a week or two. So that next day, they announced that they were bringing healthcare providers to the school, and they were giving out free flu shots. That's hard to say. And for faculty, staff, students, everybody. And so I decided, because the thing in college had been, 20 years ago. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure they've improved the vaccine by now. And so I went ahead and got it. And I have gotten one every year since then, because again, I don't want to get the flu. I also got the COVID vaccines, and I know people have different feelings about that, but I'm a big believer in prevention. I think I'd much rather do that than have to deal with something full blown later. So Checkups are always a good thing. Mammograms, all of those things. Get enough sleep. That's the next one. Prioritize your sleep. Try to get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. That will help you think better, feel better, act better. And this is another one that is so obvious, but it can be tricky to do. And I am currently working on a book on insomnia because it is so rampant. More about that later. Next one is to stay hydrated. Any of you who are watching this on YouTube, you see that periodically I do what I just did. I have a big tumbler, steel tumbler, that I carry ice water in all day, and I just keep drinking it and refilling it all day. I drink water all day, and it is a good thing to do. It supports digestion, healthy skin, and your organs. Dehydration, I always knew, can cause physical issues. However, I found out a few years ago, it also contributes to higher levels of anxiety. I had no idea. So drinking water is really important. If you have not done this, a lot of times it's hard. And I hear people say, I don't like water. Well, that's probably because you're not drinking it and your body needs it badly. So don't try to start out drinking 8 cups of water a day if you've never done it. Go slow. Get some of those little water bottles or have a small tumbler or something. Just sip it throughout the day. The good news is once you start drinking water, your body starts wanting it. So it becomes easier, I promise you, and easier to do it. And I just have mine with ice in it because I like cold water. You can chop up fruit and put in it. You can do some of the little additives, whatever it is. Drink water, y'all. And I live in Texas, so that's, especially in the summer, we are all drinking water. It's not that hard to do. Next thing that can be helpful is to maintain social connections. You really want to have strong connections with family and friends and just your support network, because this makes you feel good. You have a sense like you belong there. It helps reduce stress. It promotes mental and emotional well-being. I may have talked about this before, but when I moved here to Texas, it's myself and both of my brothers and their wives who all live here, and my adult son. And what I started doing after a few months, even though we all live within 30 minutes of each other, a lot of times we rarely see each other because we're all so busy. So being the oldest, I took charge and I said, okay, we are going to have a once a month family lunch. And we do. And last month, this is what we typically do. As soon as everybody got there, we all pulled out our phones and we scheduled the next month. It's much easier to schedule when we are all together than trying to do it through text or email later on. So next month, in fact, we are being adaptable. It is going to be a family dinner. We couldn't find a date for a family lunch, so we're doing a family dinner, and that's fine. The point is we are getting together, and that is how we stay connected, because we get to catch up on how is this doing? What happened with that? Da, 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 da. And so we stay pretty current with each other, and I think that is hugely important. Set boundaries is the next one. Y'all, you really need to set some healthy boundaries, especially in things like personal life and work life, because otherwise it's really, really easy to get burnt out. I strongly recommend not taking work home with you on a regular basis. Occasionally, you're going to have to. And if you work at home, you really are going to have to try extra hard to keep those boundaries in place and keep those things separated. And I strongly recommend, if you work at home, at the end of the day, that you really put all your work stuff away. And it's like, okay, you flip the switch, work is over. Now you are doing home things, and try to do that. It makes a big difference. Next is practice self-care. Y'all, as women, we tend to take care of everybody else before we take care of us, right? Yes, agreed. Let me see your hand. Yep, I see those hands. Yes, we do that. And there is nothing wrong with taking care of other people, but we have to take care of ourselves too, and we have to take care of ourselves really first, or we're not going to have enough to help anybody else. And I've used this analogy before, but those of you who have flown, when they're doing, the flight attendant is doing the whole little rundown about what to expect, what do they say about the little air masks? When the air masks drop down, put yours on first before you help anybody else. You have to make sure you're taken care of before you help anybody else. So y'all, this is really, really important that you take care of yourself. Hobbies, relaxation, pampering, love that one, to reduce stress, boost your mood, and improve overall well-being. So things like getting a mani-pedi, which I'm doing tomorrow, having a massage or a facial, practicing your hobby, going out to eat with friends, going to a movie, some fun things that you enjoy in your life. And I know people who one of their favorite things is going garage selling. That's like on the bottom of my list. But hey, if that works for you, great. Go do it. Have fun. But you need to do things that nourish you as well. Okay, educate yourself. Stay informed about like health issues, and advocate for your health needs and maybe for your family as well. Your doctor, when you go see him or her, they're going to try to be helpful, but you are the best advocate for you. So if you go to a doctor's appointment, before you go, write down the things that you want to discuss with them, because you'll get there and you probably will forget, or write down any questions that you have and do your research. And, say, hey, I've been dealing with this and I'm wondering if this is the best way to handle it, and just ask. I recently have developed some hip pain that I thought was, not recently, I've had it for several years. I thought it was bursitis because my dad had bursitis. And I looked up the symptoms and they seemed to fit. Well, it was not bursitis, because the last time I went to my doctor, I finally decided I probably should ask about this, even though I've had this for like 10 years, off and on, not full intensity ever at all, but just off and on, it's bothered me. And so she said, well, let's take an x-ray. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that would be a good idea. So we did. I don't have bursitis. I have some arthritis and something with sciatic nerve. I don't know if I said that right. Anyway, so I've been going to some physical therapy. It's getting better. Who knew? Because I kind of decided it's time to take it seriously and see if I can get this to improve. So I'm doing stretching exercises every day, and I'm, just doing all these things that I probably should have been doing a while ago. So educate yourself. Maintain healthy relationships with, again, family and friends, and don't be afraid to limit contact with toxic people in your life, even if they are family. I have had to, especially when I was back counseling, I've had to suggest to a lot of people that maybe, since mom or dad or your cousin or your sibling, they are always so negative when they call you, maybe you need to not always take their calls. Maybe you need to let them know, hey, when you call during the day, I'm working, I can't take it. But I'll call you back. And then when you do call them back, you limit it to 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. Or if they really are toxic, you may just have to not see them for a while. I'm not saying cut off all contact forever, but maybe for a while you need to do that. You need to protect yourself and your family. Okay. Limit alcohol intake and avoid smoking. These are easy ones for me because I have absolutely no palate for alcohol. It all tastes the same to me. Terrible. I just don't like it. And I literally remember being in college. A lot of my friends were drinking. And so I tried a couple of things, like tried a sip of what was it? A strawberry daiquiri, I think. That was okay. Just some different things. And they were just okay. That was about the best I could say. I could not do beer at all. The smell, just blah. I couldn't do it. So I remember thinking to myself, okay, if I tried, I could probably develop a taste for this. If I really made myself put an effort in there. And then after about 10 seconds, I thought, wait a minute. I have enough expensive fattening habits. Why would I deliberately want to add another one? And that was the end of it. So I don't, and I've never smoked because I just hate the way it smells. So I realized this is an easy one for me to say. However, research bears this out. Obviously, I think we all know smoking is bad for you. So really make an effort to quit. And by the way, one of the best ways, in my opinion, to quit is to use hypnosis. So if that's something you're interested in, get online, find someone near you, see if they have experience doing that, and either limit your alcohol consumption or just get rid of it. Y'all, it is just empty calories. That's all it is. And I'm not saying you can never have a glass of wine with a friend or something, but if you are doing too much of it, it's not a good thing. Have your screenings and preventative care done. Things like mammograms, pap smears, bone density tests. Because again, you want to detect these issues early and prevent complications. My mom had melanoma twice, and she survived it both times. But because of that, I am very careful when I go outside. I stay in the shade, especially in Texas. The sun can be brutal. I wear sunscreen or long sleeves, hats. I'm just very conscious of that. I try to prevent that type of issue and not have to deal with it later. Okay, some other ones. Practice gratitude. This is another one that I'm really big on. Cultivate a sense of gratitude by regularly acknowledging all the blessings in your life and expressing appreciation for them. Because when we do that, that really improves our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It is good for us to express gratitude. And the Bible talks a lot about give thanks. That's what they're talking about. It is good for us to do that. God designed us that way. We feel better when we express gratitude. So make a point of doing that. And you may have been raised in a home where that was kind of not the norm, and it feels awkward and uncomfortable to you. Do you know how to get through awkward and uncomfortable? You keep doing it. You do it regularly. And after a while, instead of whatever the new thing is that was awkward and uncomfortable, it's now your new normal. And it's no longer awkward and uncomfortable. It feels natural. So just keep doing it. It's good for you. Engage in some type of creative expression. We all need this, these outlets such as art, music, writing, crafting, gardening, cake decorating, carpentry, where we are creating something. Again, it is good for us. It helps reduce stress. It makes us feel fulfilled. I have a craft room, huge crafter, and at least once a week on Sunday afternoons, I go into my craft room and create, and it nourishes my soul. I am convinced of that. I need that. If I have to go a couple of weeks without it, and sometimes that does happen, just scheduling things, I feel it. So I strongly encourage you to find something creative that you can do and do it on a regular basis. Go outside. Another big one that I talk about a lot. Being outside in nature is good for you. Fresh air, natural light, green plants. And if you're lucky enough to live near a beach, and if so, I envy you, then you have the water as well. Get outside regularly. It is good for you. It improves, and research, this is not just me saying it, research shows it reduces stress, boosts your mood, and just improves your overall well-being. You feel good when you go outside. Next one, volunteer or give back. It's just like the gratitude. When we help other people, we feel better about ourselves. So try to do something regularly. And if you're part of a church, having grown up a preacher's daughter, I can just about guarantee there is something in your church that you can do on a regular basis that needs to be done, that people will appreciate, that will make things function better. So look for it. And if not, then look for something in your community. There are things that you can do to help others, and do them. Next is practice forgiveness toward yourself and toward other people. And that just really helps release resentment, anger, and just negative emotions in general, which again improves your mental and emotional well-being. You feel better when you are forgiving and choosing to let go of things. Set realistic goals. It's really important. And this is something, y'all, I have done for as long as I can remember, since like junior high. I was always been a goal setter. And set goals in different areas of your life. It shouldn't be just like weight loss. That's what I think most of us think of it in, but like health, like maybe this next year, I want to run a marathon, or I want to give away a certain amount of money by this date. I have one of those that I'm working on. It could just be a lot of different things, but set goals for yourself. And as you meet them, yay, celebrate your accomplishment. And then after a while, set some more goals. I mean, keep going. The objective is not to meet the goal, whatever it is, and stop. It's to meet that, acknowledge that, hey, you did something really good, and then figure out, okay, now what's the next step? Now what do I want to do? Keep working towards it, towards the goals. Seek support. Stay connected to family and friends so that if and when you need it, and we all do at times, you can have support built in. It's just so important. You connect with other people and help them. They are going to help you when you need it. Not every single one of them, but a lot of them will. It's one of my favorites. Connect with pets. Spend time with your pets and just experience or think about adopting one if you don't have one. And if you have a place for it and all of that. And there's just so many emotional benefits of being with your pets. Stress relief, increased physical activity. Y'all, I walk my two little dogs every morning, weather permitting. If it's pouring rain, no, we don't walk. And they want to know why. They're looking at me like, can't you make it stop raining? Come on, we want to walk. But it is just a good thing to do. And they are, I love my little dogs. They'll come up and sit on my lap and just, I love on them and they're loving on me. It is such a good connection. It really is good. So I love that one. It doesn't have to be dogs. And just for the record, I do like cats too. I really do. However, I can't have them for two reasons. One is I had dogs first, and I think it would be hard to not have my dogs chasing them. And two, I have a doggy door because when I'm gone during the day, that way my dogs can go in and out. Well, if a cat goes out, I lose it. Because I've talked to several people who have done that. And they said, yeah, the cat disappeared. We have no idea what happened to it. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to get too attached to it and then I lose it. Practice mindful eating. And this is really important if you especially are trying to lose weight, but even if you're not, it's a good thing to do. This just means pay attention to your hunger cues. So when you're hungry, eat something. If you're bored or stressed, not a good reason to eat. And it took me a long time, y'all, to get to that, but you can do it. And eat slower because it is healthier for you. Savor your food. Don't just like bolt it down. This is one I don't have to struggle with too much because growing up, the oldest of 5 children, I was always the last one to finish eating because I just took my time. I liked my food. Ooh, this was good. I was always the last one. So I don't have to worry about eating too fast because I don't. Learn some stress management techniques. Things like progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, tapping, hypnosis, aromatherapy. All of these things will help reduce stress levels and promote relaxation. Here's the reason that I really am so big on people reducing stress. Too much stress causes you to dive back into old, bad, toxic habits. Anybody who has stopped smoking and started again, or who has lost a lot of weight and started again, and I get that a lot in my practice, and I'll ask them, okay, well, so you quit smoking for 4 years, or you lost 60 pounds and kept it off for 2 years. What happened to make you start again? Almost every time, stress, something related to stress. And again, if you don't control that stress, odds are you're going to either start a bad habit or you're going to revert back to one that you thought you had gotten under control. So it really, really is important to do that. So deep breathing, warm showers or bath, calming music, walking outside, giving yourself positive messages. All of these are ways to control stress, and you may have some other ones that work for you. Totally fine. Practice assertiveness. This is something where you are able to set boundaries. You are able to ask for what you want. And although that doesn't necessarily mean that you will get it, you greatly increase the odds that you will. This was something that I learned how to do in college. I learned the magic word, which is saying no. And I do it nicely, but it's still one of my favorite words because otherwise you can get stuck into doing a lot of things that you don't want to do. I've been listening to, I have the Bible version app, and one of the devotions that I'm doing through them is called Reclaiming Your Time. And he was talking today about how Jesus made it a point of when people tried to pull him into things that he shouldn't be doing, he just didn't do it. He stayed focused on what his work there was. And I think too often we get sucked away from what God wants us to be doing, and we start doing things that other people want us to be doing that really we probably shouldn't be even messing with. So it is really important to learn how to say no nicely. And it's simple. You just say something like, gosh, that sounds really good. And I hope it goes well, but I've got too much on my plate right now. I can't do it. But I'll be praying that it goes well for you. That's it. That's all you do. So learn how to say no. Practice being assertive. Also, engage in lifelong learning. You never know everything. And if you're a professional, most of the time in those things, you have to have some type of continuing ed because they know that new things are going to come up. If you just stay right where you are when you got your degree or your certification or your licensure, in 10 years, you're going to be so out of date because things move on. So it is important to keep learning. Have that attitude that you don't know everything. So attend workshops, do hobbies, take some online courses, read books, just keep doing things that expand you and keep you current. And then the last one, probably the most important one, I should have put this one first, is to have a strong relationship with God and stay connected to Him. Y'all, that is so important. And this is something I pray regularly. Lord, please don't let me stray. And I know that I'm going to. So the other thing that I pray is when I do, not if, because I know that I will, help me to realize it really quickly. When I've gotten off the path, I'm doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, help me to instantly, oh, wait, no, that's not what I should be doing. And then to get myself back where I need to be. Because it's going to happen. And a lot of times we end up doing things we shouldn't be doing just because we're not paying attention or we're tired or we didn't understand something. A lot of times it's not deliberate disobedience. It's just there's so many things going on. We weren't, really focusing on what we need to be doing. So a strong relationship with God by staying connected with Him is really, really important. Okay, so let me get back to why I'm going to be taking a break. Several things. One is, y'all, doing a weekly podcast is time consuming. It is brutal at times. It's a lot of work. And if you are listening to somebody else who's doing a weekly podcast, you need to let them know, hey, you're doing a great job. This is really, really good because it is a lot of work and it's time consuming. So I'm going to be taking a break for a couple of reasons. That's one. Another one is I have been working on this book about insomnia. And I've got to get it finished, y'all. I just can't do everything. So I've realized, okay, I need to take a break so I can get back on this book, get it wrapped up, because actually there's several other books I also want to write. So I need to do that. I need to catch up with some other things. So what I am looking at is 3 or 4 months of a break, starting after I finish this recording. But I have put it in my calendar to start recording again. When I start recording again, instead of once a week, I'm going to be doing once, maybe twice a month. Most months, it'll probably be once a month. Every now and then, it'll be twice if I have something, else come up that I want to talk about. So I am going to take a break. And then when I come back, it's not going to be quite as fast-paced as this was. But this is my 75th episode. So I feel like I've got a good foundation and I can add to it regularly and occasionally. And this is what I feel like God has led me to do. So just wanted to explain it to you, what's going to be going on. I will be back. Okay. So, I always give some fun facts about Waco or Texas. I found 3 fun ones that I like on Texas. The Republic of Texas was an actual country. Not everybody knows that. Between 1836 and 1845, Texas ruled itself as an independent nation. Because of that, it is the only nation in the Union, the only state in the Union, to become one of the 50 states through a treaty rather than through annexation, because again, they were an independent nation. And related to that, second fact, the red, white, and blue of Texas flag should look very familiar. The reason for that is that the red, bravery, white, purity, and blue, loyalty of the Texas state flag are legally required to exactly match the colors in the U.S. state flags. So they do look, when they're in Texas, you see them flying together all the time. Yeah, you can tell that they're related. There's a reason for that. And the third one, I had to include this one. It is illegal in Texas to milk someone else's cow. So just remember, If you're in Texas or if you visit here, you cannot go randomly milk somebody's cow. The fine won't exceed $10, but milking a cow that you don't own violates the Texas Penal Code because it's considered theft of personal property. So just keep that in mind if y'all are ever in Texas. Okay. So along with this podcast and Waco Hypnosis Center, I'm available for public speaking. If you would like to have me for an event, you can contact me through my website at www.drmelissarich.com, or you can email me at info@drmelissarich.com. Y'all, I hope that you have enjoyed these podcasts, and a part of me hates to take a break, but I know that I really need to do it. So I am looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to being back again. I hope this has blessed you. Y'all, I hope to see you again in 3 or 4 months. Bye.